Bonsoir.
Hi, bonsoir. Comment ça va?
Hello.
Hello, hello Anis, hello Robert.
Uh,
Martin speaking.
Hello.
Ah,
Hi,
bonsoir.
Martin.
Merci.
Nice to see you, Anis. Sorry about last time, and sorry again, Robert, as well.
No, no, I mean, so is life. We cannot beat the technology.
Exactly, no, and I was unfortunately sick, lying in bed. I thought I would not fall asleep, and I did. So here we are with me a month after presenting you. My apologies for that.
No, don't worry. I had a small question. In
Yes,
my background screen, can you read the letters or should I reverse the letters?
we can read the letters.
Yes? Okay, okay. No, because sometimes the computer mirrors, so don't know.
Yeah, and it works. Robert, I'm gonna name you host.
Aha, okay. Yes.
Yeah, just did.
Oh, I see it. Yes. Thank you.
No, no, you're welcome. So you should be able to do everything you want to.
Okay. Ah, there I see you.
Yeah, exactly. Nice to see you.
So it's now evening in Paris, huh?
Yep,
C'est le soir, le 9
c'est
heures.
presque, exactement.
So,
Um,
Robert, you'll be assigning me as an interpreter, right?
you should be able
Let
to do
me
it now, yeah.
see how to do that. That is very good.
Um, Maybe I should have done it before I closed. Sorry.
But it's
Okay, I'm
good
gonna
for
I'm gonna do
Robert.
it, Robert.
Ah, yes,
I'm gonna
yes.
do it. I got the hosting back,
Okay.
and now we'll be
Just remember, Roxana will be joining at some stage also. I'm not sure if she's joining right away.
okay. But you already named interpreter, Anis, supposedly.
I should be, but I'm not at the moment because you can hear me. Otherwise, you wouldn't hear me.
It's true. Okay. Let me see that. For once, it's good that we all here in advance.
Yes.
Less stress, and we'll be able. I should
Mhm.
be able to do it real fast. Give me a sec.
Mhm.
Right, Anis, can you try talking? See if we hear you. Yeah. All right. So you're now. We can't hear you, so you're in the good channel. That's good.
So then participants can select the channel, I understand, right?
Exactly. So, Anis, can you speak, please? Again? No. Now you're muted. Sorry, Anis. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I. Yep. Okay. So only thing is that you're in the English channel. Maybe I'll try to put you in the French one. Hi, Roxana. Um, you can switch yourselves. So, Yep. Okay, so you are in the French one. And Robert, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So, Robert, you're in the English channel, and Anis and Roxana are in the French one. That's great. And hello, Oksana. And as I was saying, telling Anis, sorry about last time. Fortunately, I was sick and dependent on the meeting was depending on my computer. We've made a few changes so that it shouldn't happen again. But still wanted to make sure that it was all good this time. All right, Robert, I'm gonna name you host
I'm
now.
okay. I'm gonna yeah. That's good. And then I'll do a little test with the screen share
Please
and the
do.
PowerPoint because I'm never sure if I should do the PowerPoint in the projection mode or in the editing mode.
Okay.
So let us.
Hi. You are a host right now.
Okay, good. So then, sorry, let me do this here. Okay, so okay, so now you can see the screen,
Yep.
but you see on the side the little
Yes.
slide. Okay,
Yes.
so if I do this, then
Not there yet. Now we see the notes. We see the next slide and notes if there are any.
yeah, right, that's the tricky part.
Yeah.
Let me see how I can do that. Or I can like do it like this. It's maybe sufficient. Like this is this is the backup, huh? It's good enough like this, right?
But we can see everything up at the
Yeah,
top.
yeah.
But I mean, I don't know that people. Yeah, like this is good.
The thing is that but okay, that is option one. Now I'm gonna stop the share and I'm gonna try it one more time. Uh, now you see it better?
Yeah, now it's full screen.
Okay, so now I found a way to do that.
Nice.
You have to put it first in the full screen and then go in the Zoom share.
All right. Well, yeah, now it's full screen and we can see it perfectly.
So I learned this today. Let me see. So we go back and forth. And now another question. Is the screen still visible now?
We can see the slide. Yes.
Yeah, you're not seeing anything else, eh?
No.
Okay, okay, okay. Then it's good. Then it's good because now I have a Word documents and PDF files also on my screen.
Great. And we can't see it.
Okay, 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 okay. That's very good. So we learn every time.
That's what it's all about.
So I think maybe I will leave it like this, to be honest.
Yes, we can.
Um, although I'm still gonna try it. I'm gonna stop the share screen. Now you see the participants again, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, Myriam. Bonjour.
Madame Myriam,
Hello.
bonjour.
Hello, bonjour.
C'est matin.
And hello, Ahab.
Bonsoir. Yeah.
Yes, good evening. Hi, Martin. Thanks for tuning in. You needn't stick around, but thanks for checking in.
No, yeah, okay. We could check everything was in order. Yeah, I was the dummy for Robert testing.
We did a couple of testing just now.
Excellent.
We have also Anis and Roxana from the translations
Yep.
Brilliant.
company.
Bonsoir. Good evening. And I see Eric
Yeah.
is connected from Turks and Caicos.
Et Ahab, les interprètes donc sont sur le channel français.
Oui.
Oui, on est sur le channel anglais et ceux qui ont besoin d'interprétation, channel French.
OK.
Et voilà.
Très bien. Très bien. Parfait.
Robert is already a host. Robert is a host, so he's been able to share his screen and everything.
Yeah. Oh, great.
I believe I will leave you there. And,
Excellent.
Well, wish you all a very pleasant meeting, hopefully productive. Good luck, Robert.
Yes, thank you very much.
It's sure to be productive with Robert here. Yeah, we're in good hands.
Never doubt
Thanks
it.
for all the support and teamwork. Together
Okay.
we make it happen.
Happy to.
Allez.
All right, guys. Have a
Allez.
nice
Okay.
evening.
Good night, eh?
Bonne
Best
réunion.
Ciao. Ciao.
Bye.
Mhm. Ah, Abiyaya.
Hi.
Hi, Avi. Yeah.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for making time to join us.
Of course. I'm just going to turn the audio off until we start the meeting.
Sure.
And so I'll do a little test again with the slides. It's working like this. Invisible?
Yes, we can
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so then we're set for that. We'll do it later on.
Brilliant.
Hi, welcome all. Good day. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Kaitsa.
Good
Yeah.
afternoon.
Afternoon. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Hi, John. Welcome.
Good evening.
Evening, John.
Derek also welcome. Good evening. Good afternoon.
Thank you.
We'll just give the people a few more minutes to get online.
Fair enough.
Lisa also welcome from the
Thank you
Caymans.
very much. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, good afternoon. Emily also welcome. Thank you for joining.
Robert, we're 5 past the hour.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get underway.
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, as the Go program director, I want to thank everybody for being here today, this morning, this afternoon, this evening. This is what we're calling this the 2/3, the second or third, or second and third. We're combining the numbers 2 and 3. We've allocated 90 minutes to this meeting as a consequence, but it might be that we wrap up earlier than that. I want to again thank you all for making time, and perhaps we could do a quick round table or a round of presentations, and maybe I'll call your name and you can turn on your camera and just introduce yourself, and then I'll call on the next person. Let's start with Derek.
Okay, 1 minute. We just got my camera.
Sure.
Okay. Good day, everyone. I don't know what time it is for everybody, so I'm just going to say good day. I'm Derek Rollins. I'm from the Ministry of Finance in Bermuda.
Brilliant. Thanks, Derek.
Okay.
And Miriam.
Oh, hello. Bonjour. I'm Myriam Vendée-Leclerc. I work for Government of New Caledonia in the Meteorology Department. And I'm a Climate Change Adaptation Strategy Officer.
Perfect. Bienvenue, Myriam. Merci d'être parmi nous ce soir. For those of you who wish to, we have simultaneous English and French translation, and you can press a button at the bottom of your screen and access that. We have some colleagues who are logged in and doing that simultaneously. So thank you for our interpreters. Next person, Lisa. Lisa Hurlson, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Hurlston McKenzie, coming to you from the Cayman Islands. I'm the Senior Policy Advisor for the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. I'm the Policy Advisor specifically for climate. Thank you.
Brilliant. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. And Aviyaya.
Good day, everyone. I am Aviyaya Rosing Olsen from the Government of Greenland, Ministry of Climate, Environment, and so on. Good to see you all.
Good to see you. Thank you. And Anis. We can come back to Anis if we need to. The next individual I see is CGA Stambide. I'm not sure who it is. Oh, I'm sorry. Anis is an interpreter. Yeah, my apologies.
Okay, is that right?
Perfect. That's perfect.
Okay. Hello, I'm Cecile. I don't know how to change my name on this Zoom workplace. So I'm Cecile from French Polynesia, in charge of green budgeting at the Budget and Finance Department.
Excellent. Thank you very much for joining us. Please don't, for the French speakers, please don't hesitate to intervene in French. It'll be automatically translated. But again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Eric, I see you're connected in Turks and Caicos. We can come back to Eric. We have Reitza in St. Martin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Reitza Narain. I work at the Ministry of Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment, and Infrastructure, and I am the department head of the Policy Department. Nice to meet you.
Excellent. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us. We have Julius Lambert. Julius, do you wish to introduce yourself? Your screen, it might be frozen because we can't hear you.
The screen looks frozen for the moment.
Julius, we can come back to you. John Clorley.
Good day, everybody. I'm John Clorley. I'm from the government of South Georgia, South Sandwich Islands. I'm the Director of Strategy and Policy. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, John. And Emily Wilkinson.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Wilkinson. I'm Principal Research Fellow at ODI Global, which is a think tank based in London, and Director of the Resilient and Sustainable Islands Initiative. And I'm the lead for the consortium that's working with Expertise France on the Green Overseas Climate Finance community. Great to be here. Thanks.
Excellent. Good to see you, Emily. Let's see. There was Julius. Are you able to speak to us at this time? Give it another try. If not, we can. I invite you to jump in when you log back in. And Eric in Turks and Caicos, if you're back at your desk, invite you to introduce yourself. And if not, we can do that at a later time. Anyways, it's a pleasure to see you all, and thank you for joining us. A colleague of mine, Lena Toad, that many of you know, especially those of you in the Caribbean, was going to join us tonight from St. Martin. Sadly, she has the flu and won't be able to join us at this time, and regrets that, but sends her best regards. And Roberto Estelas Colom, the coordinator for Global Gateway within the INPA B3 of EU, was likewise to join us, and his flight was delayed, and as such is unable to join us, but will join us at a further time. I think it's we all agree it's useful to have the EU on board. I think we want them to follow our efforts closely. When it comes time to having their support, I want them to feel that they're very much part of this effort, and I know that they're especially interested to see the overseas countries and territories gain greater access to more sustainable, long-term, and more substantial funding for climate finance, climate resilience, and related activities. We have a pretty full agenda tonight. Robert Moons, our secretary for this expert working group, will be taking us through a good deal of it, and we definitely want to give all of you an opportunity to share ideas and to partake in discussions. That's the real purpose of this expert working group, and it's essential that we get meaningful feedback from all of you. And those of you who wish to share feedback in the wake of this meeting or any meeting in future, I invite you to do that via email if it's more convenient to you, or if ideas come to you after the meeting. That's very useful to us. Robert and I had a lengthy conversation with Aviya in Greenland, and that was a very useful exercise, I think, for our program and for this expert working group. I also want to say that we had a discussion with Kettle War Boys of Yokota and of Santalina, and we discussed making it possible for any territory to come to this meeting with 2 individuals should they wish to. That was something that Kettle had expressed could be useful, and then 2 individuals could be better equipped to pass the ball back and forth should one be unable to attend. So we certainly invite that going forward. We've also circulated the minutes from our inaugural meeting, and I invite any and everybody to provide input if we've missed anything or misinterpreted anything, or if there's something you'd like to see corrected. We invite you to tell us as much, and to raise your hand, or to do that after the fact if you so prefer. And barring that, I will suggest that we take those meetings to be approved. And further to that, I think at this point I can pass it over to you, Robert, unless I have missed anything on the agenda points, but I believe that's everything, and I can come back to it if need be. So over to you, Robert.
Yeah, I'll just share the screen, and then Ahab, you could just introduce our survey results.
Excellent. I'd like to. Thank you.
Which is this part here.
Thanks. Yes, we thought this was a useful exercise. We polled all of you, and to understand sort of the length of time that it's going to be a sort of an ideal length of time for these regular meetings. And as you'll see on the left side of your screen, the vast majority of respondents said that 60 minutes was spot on. Some of you responded that 90 minutes was acceptable, and we had nobody for 120 minutes, and so that's a big surprise. But we're committed to making these meetings succinct, to the point, and then we try not to run through points, but we certainly don't want to extend these meetings beyond their useful length. We know you're all busy, and this is an additional effort that you need to participate in, should you make the time for it, and we appreciate that. Also, we polled members whether or not to hold this meeting in English or and in French, so 2 separate meetings, or to regroup everybody together with and using simultaneous translation if and when need be. And the majority of respondents communicated that a joint meeting was preferable. So I think that's amenable to everybody. And thanks for sharing that slide, Robert. Do we have a further slide to share? Right. With regard to the community and platform, we might have a look at this a little bit later during our meeting. Thank you. These are on the Go platform that has been developed by the Go program specifically to facilitate sharing of documents and whatnot. We've created an expert working group section, so to speak, and we will be regularly depositing documents as they become available to us, and as they're validated by our team and yourselves in some cases. And this program, or rather this platform, is also capable of allowing any of you to upload supplemental documents that you think are especially interesting to share with individuals in this group or beneficiary territories or countries of the Green Overseas Program, and we invite you to do that, be it on this expert working group tab or other communities that are available on this platform. And there's also a recording of our last meeting, and the minutes are likewise available. I'll be working with Robert with our communication colleagues in the Green Overseas Program to try to render this space as user-friendly as possible, and to upload documents that we think are useful for us all to share. So this will keep evolving over time, and I and my whole team invite all of you to share constructive criticism about how we can make this platform more useful to all of you, be it for this expert working group or any other Go program related aspects. It's a pretty rudimentary platform, but we're really keen that it become as useful as it possibly can. So please don't hesitate. Is there a further slide, Robert, please?
This is just an overview of deliverables from the community.
Excellent. In English and French. Some of the French translation, my colleagues have had an opportunity to go through it. Robert his French is quite good, and he does quite a bit of the translation, and then it's touched up by some members of the Go program. But I think by and large the English to French translation is pretty accurate. But I hope you'll be a little bit forgiving if there's some wordage that's a little bit off now and again. Is there a further slide, Robert?
No, that's basically it.
Brilliant. Thank you. In that case, Robert, I'm going to turn it over to you to walk us through the action plan. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ahab, for the introduction. And to my fellow overseas countries and territories people, welcome. Of course, it's always a pleasure to meet you and to be of service to you. So today we'll be discussing the action plan. I'll give a little recap on this so that we all have the same information. The expert working group that we are on emerged from the Go Climate Finance Forum held last October. And it's also the reason that you see the event, the forum logo at the top, because basically we have been tasked to take forward action items that emerge from the forum. And in the first meeting, we had a preliminary, so a first draft of a proposed action plan based on the forum. We received some feedback, and today we're going to be discussing that feedback and also inviting you to give further comments. Ultimately, this has to be consolidated into a work plan. The work plan will be a document that is not only consisting of a description of actions, but it's also including information on timelines and on budgets. The Go program through Ahab Downer has announced that they're willing to allocate resources to this work package. And that means that once the working group has agreed on the actions that will be put forward. And once we have estimated the budgets needed to execute those actions, also in cooperation with possible service providers or consultancies who may be able to do certain studies for us, then this package needs to be approved or needs to be presented, first of all, to the GO Operational Steering Committee. And then, if approved, resources will be allocated and actions can commence with execution. Besides the engagement of service providers, so consultancies, there's also the option of members, so people among ourselves here, also to work on actions on a voluntary basis. But we have been a bit careful not to put any burden on you. So we prefer for members to say, I want to volunteer in a certain area, or I want to be more involved, more closely involved, or I want to do something under the auspices of this working group, instead of demanding from you, because we are aware that you're all very busy and you have a lot of responsibilities. And I know how it is in small territories, where, especially in public administrations, one individual usually has many, many tasks to take care of. And this is also the reason why we are presenting the option of the service providers, and there is budget that could be mobilized if substantiated and if carried by this group in order to engage them. So without further ado, and I'm just checking here, we're actually good on our timing schedule, so that's nice. What we'll do is we're going to go pillar by pillar, and with pillars, I'm going to mean this. I'm going to go a little step back. This chart here is kind of the envisioned output chart in the work plan, where we're going to have a timeline for each of the selected or proposed actions. And there's going to be a budget table. So we're going to identify how much budget is associated or required for each of these actions. And then there's going to be a total figure at the bottom right side of the slide. So this shows kind of the format that we're working towards. But we're not doing that in isolation. We're taking your feedback and processing that into this. Okay, the pillars. When we talk about pillars, I'm referring to basically language that emerged on the closing day of the forum, where ODI, Emily Wilkinson, who is here with us, presented outcomes of regional workshops where possible follow-up actions were discussed. And that was then consolidated. And in order to kind of keep it manageable, that then emerged into different pillars. Pillar 0, PDA 0, is general items. Pillar 1 has to do with awareness, so knowing more about climate finance. Pillar 2 has to do with capacity building, so being able to execute, being able to make proposals or to make applications. And pillar 3 has to do with eligibility, so looking at funds that are available or not available perhaps, and how can OCTs or OTs, increase access to possible funding beyond what's there today. And now we're going to review each of these pillars and the actions that are inside of these pillars. And I'm going to invite you to also to speak and to give feedback. And I'll raise some questions and so on to guide that discussion. But just for those who may not have the time to look at all of the documents, in the emails you will find a memorandum called Work Plan de Travail, and that work plan is based on these pillars, and in the back has more detailed description of each of the proposed items so far. So you could maybe scroll to that document while we talk as it will have more details than we are able to project on a slide, because we're trying to keep the slide fairly simple. Otherwise, it's going to be impossible to read. So forgive me for that. So without further ado, we're going to go to pillar 0 first. Oh yeah, and then whenever we're inviting you to contribute or to discuss or to speak, generally we're also asking to be a bit brief, so not to talk a half hour, but 2 or 3 minutes in a nice way, so that everyone can have a chance also to speak within the time that we have together today. Thank you for that. We appreciate. So the pillar 0, and I'll be introducing this. Yes, you can see it. Yes, yeah. So the 3 items here, there's a common narrative, the rationale for climate finance. So why do we need it? And I'll ask Emily to elaborate on this as the first one, as she proposed this at a forum. There's the climate finance roadmap, which is a kind of a joint declaration, a kind of a unified statement of our member countries. And I'll elaborate on that just now. And there are side events at the COP30 conference. So these are more organizational or general items before we get into the awareness, the capacity building, and the eligibility. But Emily, could you briefly elaborate on the idea of the common narrative report?
Yeah, thank you, Robert. So one of the things that we have been working on for some time with the group of SIDS.
Can you speak a little louder, Emily?
Sorry, can you not hear me?
Yeah, no, it's good, yes.
Okay. One of the things that we have been working on for a number of years with the group of UN member states, SIDS, is the kind of the rationale for why SIDS should be receiving greater volumes of finance for adaptation and resilience in particular, but also greater concessionality and improved access to grants and highly concessional finance. And that work and sort of ongoing work really has proven to be extremely useful for the SIDS grouping to collectively advocate whether that is directly with the vertical climate fund, such as the GCF, or more broadly in the climate negotiations. And that is based around the work, and specifically the analysis that we've done with SIDS is based on 2 elements. One is what access do they have to climate finance, or more broadly finance for resilience, which is relatively straightforward to do because that information is available through the OECD DAC database. So we can look at financial flows for climate resilience and low carbon development. And the second part of that is to understand their vulnerability, levels of vulnerability in relation to other groups of countries, because all of this analysis only really makes sense if there's a comparator. So you know, how much finance is flowing to SIDS in relation to other groups of countries, how vulnerable are SIDS in relation to other groups of countries. And on that basis, we've done some analysis and some statistical correlations which helps to demonstrate that really SIDS are receiving less than their fair share. The reason why I'm saying this is because I think that a similar type of analysis is needed for the OCTs. Now, that's going to have to be done methodologically in a different way because we don't have all this information isn't in one database. So it might be the case that we would need to share a kind of questionnaire or similar with the OCTs to better understand what climate finance have been able to access. Or we can also go to the funds, as we have already done some a study under the Go Climate Finance community looking at what funding is available to the OCT. So we could also request this information from the funders, the funding agencies and funds themselves. The second part, which is in relation to their vulnerability, we looked at the MVI, and we know that this data hasn't been collected for OCTs, but there could be a parallel exercise where we try and do that. Again, requesting where there is data available on some of the indicators in the MVI, or we do a simplified process, just including some of the indicators or that we think are most relevant to understanding levels of vulnerability to climate extremes and so on said events. So both elements of the study would be really important. It's quite a kind of data-driven. It would be quite a data-driven report, but I think really useful to kind of carry around and refer to in discussions around improving access to climate finance and broader advocacy work. So I think I'll stop there, Robert, because I think the kind of details of how the study is undertaken is probably for another discussion if OCTs consider this to be a worthwhile activity and something that we want to move ahead with. Thanks.
Excellent, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Emily, and also thanks for sharing your insights in working with the SIDS, who are kind of ahead of us. I just wanted to ask if there are any questions from the audience on this, or if it was clear to all at this stage. Just a small cross-check. Otherwise, we'll move over to the next action. I'm just checking my screen here. By the way, whenever I'm looking on the left, it's because I'm working with two screens. So I have, let's say, the slides on one and all of you on the other. So forgive me for looking sideways at times. Okay, so I think we're fine on this one. I've spoken to other people also who have told me that they see a lot of value in it. So the climate finance roadmap, I would like to just as an introduction on this, because it may not be known to everyone. I'd just like to explain that this was brought forward at the Climate Finance Forum by the president of the OCTA, so the president of the Overseas Countries and Territories Association. And I'll just read a little statement of his address in Brussels. Blah, blah, blah. The OCTA presidency representation expressed that OCTA is committed to enabling more accessible climate finance, and to advance this goal, OCTA hopes to collaborate with the European Commission and the GO program to initiate discussions in the coming months, culminating in a roadmap or joint declaration to be presented at the next EU OCT Forum in the year 2025. And also, earlier during the forum, the UKOTA, so that's the UK Overseas Territories Association, chairperson also expressed willingness of the UK Overseas Territories to continue cooperating with the EU OCTs beyond the forum on enhancing climate finance access. So what I'm trying to say is that we are here to execute. This was the message sent out by the leadership. And our task is to produce a draft of this document. And the GO team has been tasked with making the first draft. And in one or two meetings down the road, we'll be able to share that with the entire working group. And then you'll also have the chance to liaise on this with your territory leadership. Because of course, this is an expert working group. But this topic will ultimately go to the leadership level, so the heads of states, the ministers in charge of climate and finance. And then they will have to take this further at the next EU OCT forum, and perhaps another event together with the UK overseas territories on this topic. At this stage, we can inform you that the EU OCT forum, which was originally targeted for June of this year, very likely will be rescheduled for another date because it has not yet been announced. But as soon as there's any news, we will, of course, share this. But it would mean that there's a chance that there will be a little more time for us to work on this, which is beneficial. And then I'll just drag on, and then we'll wrap it up together for pillar number 0. See if there are any feedback from the audience, because the next one, the COP30 side event, was also something mentioned by the president of the OPTA Executive Committee. If I read from his statement in Brussels, blah, blah, blah. At the closure, the OPTA presidency expressed that the outcomes of the forum could be instrumental in shaping a unified position on climate-related matters at COP30 in November 2025. So the idea of this would be that whatever the outcomes of the work that we do could be presented and promoted at the COP in November. So I would like to give Greenland the floor, because Greenland had also ideas on the kind of representation that such a side event would need to have at a COP. Aviaya, could you speak a moment to us on that?
Yes, of course. Let me just find my notes from our meeting. As Ahab has already mentioned, sorry, apologize. As Ahab has already mentioned, we had a very fruitful meeting a few weeks ago discussing our feedback on the proposed work plan, where we were a bit skeptical at first about hosting a side event at COP30, but after discussing the options, we could actually see that it could be a very good idea for us to promote the situation that we're in the various OCTs, and we were discussing the opportunity of inviting high-level attendance for the side events, where we will discuss our access to climate finance. We were discussing inviting climate commissioners at the EU, energy commissioner at EU as well, the Danish Minister of Climate, and the UNFCCC Secretary General Simon Steele, who our now leaving minister in Greenland has quite a good relationship with. So we thought that it would be, if possible, it would be very relevant to host this side event, and we're very interested in making it as high level as possible and discussing our opportunities and our limitations to access climate finance. It's a very important issue for Greenland, and especially considering that 90% of the Greenlandic population are indigenous people, and our government is very much pushing for improving conditions for indigenous people in the climate negotiations as well. So very briefly, that's what I want to say. And we volunteered to kind of start this project, and our minister is very likely going to Copenhagen in May. Maybe some of your ministers are going as well to Copenhagen Climate Ministerial, where the UNFCCC Secretary General is also expected to attend, and the COP30 presidency. So we're going to try to promote this event there, and try to see if there is interest at all to attend such a side event hosted by OCTs. And I'm very interested to hear you guys' opinion, of course.
Thanks for that, Abby.
Yes, I was inclined also to ask Ahab maybe to share something on this, or anyone from the audience.
Well, I thank you, Robert, and thank you, Avi. For my part, you know, I agree entirely. I think I was certainly convinced when we had our discussion, and I'm just as convinced today. I think a high level event with individuals such as you've mentioned would be impactful, and I think it definitely makes sense to mobilize people at that level if we're gonna look to affect change. So I'm all for it, and glad that you all have in Greenland have proposed to take the lead on that, and the Go program, of course, stands ready to provide assistance via this group and logistical and coordination assistance if necessary, and with great pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, Ahab, and that also ties into the kind of the role that we play as kind of ambassadors on this group here.
That's right.
In accordance with the terms of reference of this working group, so the memorandum that was sent in November, and which is also on the Go platform or available through me, you would see that we've asked the members of this group also to be a liaison to your country leadership, so heads of states or ministers, and keep them informed of our discussions here. So perhaps inform them there's this idea of a COP30 side event, and encourage them maybe also to go there. And you know, we'll be looking for speakers also from the territories at that time. So then perhaps everything could come together and we could do something nice.
Yeah, we have we made a point in this presentation later to say something more about that, but the Go program is definitely looking to support a COP30 side event or side events, and we want to do that, of course, in collaboration and coordination with all of you. So we'll be looking to co-create that with you, but we have a communications team, so to speak, at the Go program, and a devoted team for this purpose of coordination, and so we'll be providing updates going forward, and welcome any and all input with regard to that.
Yes. Okay. So so with your permission, I would like to for us to close off this pillar. Oh, I see John's hand up. John.
Yeah, thank you, Rupa. I just thought I'd come in on the back of that. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with anything that's been said previously, and I think it is important to get that high-level engagement, both in terms of speakers and the audience. I think the other thing you need to think about is the communications around that and how we portray the issues we have to the wider media that will be at that COP30. And I think sometimes we have a tendency to be a bit insular and talk a lot to ourselves. And I think if within that, the strategy to deliver this event, there is a sort of media outreach plan as well, I think that would be very useful. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, John. Just in response to that, we're in the beginnings of thinking about what that might look like, but if you want to share bullet points, or if you want to speak with Robert and me, or members of our team at at a later date, then your input about what that would look like would be very useful, and we can put together sort of an ad hoc coordination group to liaise with our communications people at the Go program and communications savvy individuals amongst yourselves or from territories that you represent, and try to do a unified and effective campaign of nature to be defined collectively. So thanks for that, John.
Thank you very much. And with your permission, we'll move to the next pillar, as we're still on track on time, but we need to keep an eye on the clock. So the next pillar, and I'm moving over the slide here, was the pillar on awareness. And to be honest, you will recognize a lot of what was already on the slide of the Go community, because the Go community is our instrument to increase awareness. And that's being done in two ways. It's done through either reports, which are outputs of specific studies with very specific information to the OCTs and OTs. And it's done through training series, which are online webinars where specific topics are being addressed. The other tool that is there, or the other instrument, is the marketplace tool. And the marketplace tool is an online environment. So it's like an app or a website. And once you log into it, it guides you through a set of steps in order to identify financial instruments that could be of use for a certain project. So based on the characteristics of your financing need, it will guide you to certain solutions, and it will showcase examples of those solutions through real case studies within our territories. So not things that have been done elsewhere, but really within our own constituencies. And I'm even inclined that when we're a bit further down the road, perhaps we could have this as a separate agenda item, and for Rambol to give a little demonstration on this in order for people really to see the tool in working. Other than that, there is a report which is almost ready to release, which is a detailed study on available funding and funds, and also on barriers to expanding funding. That's the feasibility study report. And a bit further down in the pipeline, there's 3 regional reports, which are about navigating the climate finance in specific regions. So I would like to perhaps invite Miriam from New Caledonia, who in her because New Caledonia, as you would have seen in the documentation, also submitted feedback in advance. Perhaps to elaborate a little bit on what she informed us through her feedback and the need for these kind of instruments. Vous voyez ici, Miriam?
Oui, mais merci Robert. Je vais parler en français, je m'en excuse. En fait, nous, ce qu'on a essayé de faire, c'est de lister en fait tous les besoins qui avaient été exprimés localement par différents acteurs, hein. Ça allait des associations aux collectivités, aussi bien les collectivités de proximité comme les communes que les provinces, le gouvernement. Et on a essayé de lister ces besoins par pilier. Après, on n'a rien, j'ai envie de dire, rien inventé, dans le sens où finalement ces besoins recoupent les besoins qui avaient déjà été évoqués pendant le forum, qui font partie des conclusions. Je sais que l'équipe Go a fait tout un travail de recensement de ces attentes, et ce qui a permis de produire ce plan d'action. Donc voilà, mais en fait, l'objectif, c'était aussi de vous confirmer que ce que vous aviez identifié, que les axes de travail, les orientations correspondaient aussi à ce qu'on attendait. Voilà, donc c'est pour ça qu'on avait fait ce petit listing par pilier. Mais voilà, je pense que c'était surtout l'objectif de vous confirmer en tout cas que vous étiez sur la bonne voie, en tout cas nous concernant. Maintenant, par rapport à ce premier pilier, juste nous, on avait une petite question par rapport à l'outil Marketplace qu'on a trouvé très intéressant. Mais effectivement, comme vous l'expliquiez, Robert, on a des sources de financement qui sont proposées en fonction de besoins exprimés, mais on sait que ces sources de financement sont évolutives. Hein, donc, qu'est-ce qu'il est prévu en fait pour la mise à jour de cet outil? Alors là, déjà actuellement, parce que je sais qu'entre le moment où il a été mis en place et aujourd'hui, il y a certainement de nouvelles sources ou des sources qui ne sont plus disponibles. Et puis, qu'est-ce qu'il est prévu par rapport à cette mise à jour une fois le programme Go clôturé? Voilà, c'était une petite interrogation qu'on avait de notre côté. Merci.
Excellent. Well, maybe I can speak to that. Thank you very much, Miriam. And in answer to your question, we do not currently have a we don't have a we haven't identified a means, and we haven't asked a service provider to just a moment, because I'm here. Wait, very good. Sorry, I was hearing my interpretation in French, so thank you to our interpreters. But Miriam, we haven't identified and we haven't asked our service providers, ODI here present, to provide regular updates of that beyond, certainly not beyond the life of the program. But it's definitely an interesting question, and there are, in addition to that tool, there are other reports and tools that likewise could use sort of regular or systematic updating in order to remain relevant. And we'll have to explore how best to do that. We want the platform and all of these documents that we've generated with your assistance and or for the beneficiaries of the Go program to be available to everyone, and for this platform, once we sort of generate sufficient interest and make it useful to you all, we want it to remain active and available. And we've been thinking about asking Okta to keep it on their site and maintain it, or maybe INPA B3. But to be honest, we have not. We don't have a conclusion. We don't have a perfect answer to that, and it's something that we'll continue to work on, and I and my colleagues will update you should that change.
Okay, thank you very much. And I've also taken notice of these two questions, and we'll record them in the minutes also, because that will be very useful for future follow-up.
Yeah,
both
it's a very good question.
keeping the content up to date and on continuity beyond the Go program. So thank you very much, Miriam, and thank you for your feedback. So in the interest of time, I'll propose that we go to the next pillar, unless there's someone who has another question on pillar number 1 on awareness. Okay, I think we're safe to move on, and I'd like to also acknowledge the presence of Mr. Louis Paris from Aruba, who is the Treasurer and Debt Service Officer for Government of Aruba, who has meanwhile joined us.
Excellent. Welcome, Louis.
So going to the next slide, I think we're now entering a very relevant area, and also to get some more feedback from you, because this is about capacity building. And capacity building basically is the ability to, you know, not only have these funds available, but really to execute, to develop proposals, to submit this. And once projects have been approved, also to implement these projects in order to achieve impact. And here we have a choice between either developing in-country capacity, so educating people or training people inside the territories, or delivering technical assistance, for example, through the GO instruments such as the GO program, in case that territories simply do not have the time or the resource, and then from outside can this assistance be delivered. And to the backdrop of that is also the situation that for the time being, the GO program is the last thematic program for the overseas countries and territories. I believe we are the 6th thematic envelope. And there's not a similar kind of project currently planned. And to my knowledge, the UK overseas territories also do not have a similar, at least a program with similar modalities. Therefore, you would see that among these proposed activities, there is several feasibility studies to look into possible future regional technical assistance programs, or feasibility studies on enhancing regional cooperation also to stimulate capacity or technical assistance, or even focal points in regional organizations. So those are 3 related items that all tie into this. And I'd like to give, in a few seconds, again, New Caledonia and Greenland the floor, because they submitted some comments on this, but other people also feel free to share your views. Because what we're really proposing is that there are going to be 1 or more studies here that are going to be looking into what programs or mechanisms can be established also beyond the lifetime of the GO program. And that answers to a bit also the question of Miriam, what will happen after GO? But first, Greenland, Aviaya, we discussed the regionality, and perhaps you'll give some comments on that, or see how we can seek synergies also in the Arctics. Would you like to comment on that, Aviaya?
Just a second, having some technical issues. Maybe we can take New Caledonia first. I don't know what's going on with my screen.
Miriam, bonjour, madame. Would you please also comment on this as you submitted the feedback on paper? Thank you. And please feel free to speak French.
Merci Robert. Sur ce pilier, cet aspect-là, en fait, ce qu'on a essayé de faire remonter, mais je pense comme tous les territoires, hein, d'un besoin en termes d'ingénierie administrative, financière, technique pour le montage des projets, la soumission et voire même le reporting ensuite, hein, une fois que ces projets sont lancés. Maintenant, comme vous le disiez, il y a plusieurs solutions. D'avoir une assistance technique, c'est effectivement une solution intéressante, mais il faut quand même qu'on développe les capacités locales, que les gens soient formés, montent en compétences sur ces aspects-là. Donc, une assistance technique qui est effectivement qui accompagne les porteurs de projets, mais qui en même temps les forme. Je pense que c'est quand même le bon format en fait qui peut être proposé. Il faut vraiment qu'il y ait ce transfert de compétences qui soit prévu dans ces assistances techniques. Après, c'est vrai que l'option territoriale ou régionale, c'est vrai que ça peut être aussi quelque chose qui peut se faire à 2 échelles, au niveau des territoires, mais aussi au niveau des régions, de groupements de régions. Ça, c'est quelque chose qui est intéressant. Et puis, on a évoqué évidemment les bureaux d'accompagnement comme le bureau Céphane, ce qui est le cas actuellement en Polynésie française. Je pense que je peux parler au nom de Wallis et Futuna et donc la Calédonie. On a tous été intéressés par ce dispositif. Hein, voilà, ça c'est quelque chose. On envie un peu la Polynésie sur sur cet aspect-là, mais voilà. Donc voilà, c'est un fonctionnement qui conviendrait très bien au territoire. Voilà.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And I'd just like to give a little feedback on that because we have seen the example of CFAN in French Polynesia, and that is very successful there. And that could be a really interesting model. They were also in Brussels at the forum. And another similar kind of example is what the Global Center for Adaptation is doing through the Africa Acceleration Adaptation Program. We are not involved in that, but they are doing this for certain developing countries. So they bring together the finance, the ability to execute, helping with the proposals, helping with implementation of project, and then also helping with knowledge transfer and capacity building in the countries. So really we're proposing that once this work plan is approved, that we have exploratory meetings or conversations with these kind of organizations like CFAN, as you mentioned, with GCA, and perhaps others, the EU, and to see and to define the different modalities, as you also mentioned, Miriam, and then make a kind of a match of what modality can be delivered through what institution. And then we leave a kind of a blueprint of what the future could possibly look like for this area, for the overseas countries and territories.
Excellent.
So at this time, I'd like to see if anyone else would like to comment, or if not, Greenland.
Yes.
Aviaya?
I'm going to go through our comments very briefly. Well, we've highlighted the fact that it's very difficult for our very small administration to sort of get an overview or what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, to get had the word on my tongue, I'm sorry, but to get a proper understanding of what sorts of climate finance or what sort of support there is out there, because it's typically very bureaucratic processes that are difficult for us to both access, but also like to understand and to navigate in. And I think, like as we've mentioned in our feedback, that's not something that's necessarily going to change if we get training, because it's sort of the system that's very difficult for us to navigate in. Yeah. Is that clear?
No, actually, this is a point that not only you, but more people have mentioned, that this landscape is very difficult to navigate.
Yes, exactly.
It has to be decluttered.
Exactly.
And for one territory to do that on its own, it's a big time investment. So better do this collectively and present the outcome and preserve the precious time of the people in the territories for all the responsibilities that they have. And in that way we can create value. So that certainly will be a part of this focus.
Yes.
The same, actually, if I may, holds for innovation in finance, because at the forum we noticed that there are some very innovative mechanisms. There was a gentleman from Bermuda Asset Management who showcased, I believe, $100 billion through green bonds or blue bonds or other very interesting things, or either blockchain-based finance.
That's right.
And you know, everyone was like, whoa, and you know, let's learn how to do that, you know, or to create a fund for seagrass of you know, these kind of bonds. so the idea would be also to leverage, you know, and to maybe even see what solution could be applicable to each of our beneficiary countries. So if this study goes ahead, we'll be getting back to you, and also we're going to have periodic discussions. It's not going to be a study that's done in isolation. The one who is doing the study will come to the expert working group and report on progress or ask questions for us to have a clear view of what's going on and also take all of the valuable insights. Okay, I would just like to make a little round. If there's any other comment on this, other not, we're going to move to the next pillar. But I just want to be sure that if there's anyone who would like to say or like to speak.
Excuse me, Robert.
Derek,
Yes, I heard you say a gentleman from Bermuda contributed. My ears perked up. Would you happen to have the name of the gentleman that did that presentation? Because I'm just
Kevin Richards.
What's the first name again?
Kevin Richards.
Gavin Richards. Okay, I'll take note of that and try to do some research.
And
find out
offline
about
the
that.
liaise because we have more of his contact details. He was from the Bermuda Asset Management Trust Fund, I believe.
Okay.
So a semi, or actually a kind of a private or a semi-public institution.
Yes, right. Yeah, bam. Okay. But you said Gavin Richards?
Kevin
Richards. Kevin Richards. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah. And people were inspired by his talk. So that's a compliment for Bermuda. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll go over to the third pillar, which is eligibility. And I'll give a little introduction on this before we open up the floor. So basically through the forum and also before or even after, there is always talk about well, two things. One is global climate agreements, and to what extent should overseas territories and overseas countries or territories join those kind of treaties by extension of their member state, because as semi-autonomous territories, we are not main bodies to these kind of treaties. However, we can be affiliated to it through our member state, and this is at the discretion of the member state and the territory itself. But I must mention that if you look at the what is called the DOA, so the decision, the Overseas Association decision for the EU, including Greenland, you will see that in there is mention of the Paris Agreement and even a statement that the EU would provide assistance to territories who would like to undertake this on a voluntary basis. And we're also aware of several of the UKOT territories, the overseas territories, like they don't have Gibraltar, but there's Cayman, who has expressed interest to our knowledge, and the TCI, who has interest in this, and of course Greenland through Aviaya and her ministry, who already have ascended to the Paris Agreement. Meaning that a key question is to demystify this topic. When we say demystify, it means there's talk about it, but there is no unified report. There's no unified answer on what it really means. What kind of benefits will it really bring? What kind of obligations does it really entail? Or what will be avenues in the future towards climate finance, either under these global climate treaties or through multilateral development banks, as they kind of like when you are affiliated to these kind of treaties. And I may ask my colleague from Aruba to speak on this just now, Mr. Paris. But basically, we're taking the stance that we're not obliging or saying anyone you must or shall do this, but we're only facilitating. So we're here to help and to clarify and to demystify this topic so that it's clear, and then leaders have a better picture of, you know, the direction that they're setting for the territories. I'm just looking at Ahab to see if I framed this right, Ahab. Okay, you're muted, but
Yes, I think you framed that properly. Thank you, Robert.
okay. So this topic, we'd like to get some feedback on it, and I'll just check if Louis Paris from Aruba, he's not from Paris, but he's from Aruba, but his name is Paris. If he is on the line, Louis, and if you can give some comments on this and on your position towards the multilateral development banks.
Yes. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes, we can see you,
Good.
yes.
Yeah, because I'm improving here with the technology. And I don't know exactly what you would like me to address, Robert, but let me just give two examples of dealing with multilateral development banks right now. In I don't know if there's anybody else on this call that is aware that the World Bank has next Monday an event in St. Martin, and the exact title of the event I don't know, but I know that the word demystifying is in there. So the World Bank itself, just by calling up this event, is sort of acknowledging that this issue is not a figment of our imaginations. It exists. Dealing with these banks needs to be demystified. So the World Bank is addressing that. Regretfully, the invitation arrived to me too late. I can't make it. There's no planes on airplanes. I really would have wanted to go because I wanted to know more about how they work. That's one part of the mystification on this subject that I think, just to give some color to the whole thing. The other thing, there's one of these large MDBs, if not the largest, would be AIDB or AIDB. They are having an event in Chile. Holland will be there. Aruba and the other islands cannot be there. So whatever information is shared, if anything arrives to us in terms of data, and there will be a number of experts speaking, and there's going to be a lot of information shared that we will be missing, and we will not be able to actively participate. It's because we are subject. We're not ourselves members. So I just wanted to mention these two things. I'm sure in this call, there's people who would probably recognize the difficulty.
Well, thank you very much, Louis. That's very valuable, and examples of cases where we're not involved and where could be interested perhaps to be involved. Let's turn to Lisa and then to John briefly. Looking at, we have like 12 minutes remaining, but I think it's very valuable discussion. Lisa?
Thank you, Robert, very much. Just on a point of clarification, I'm not sure if there's anybody on the call from Gibraltar, but as far as I know, Gibraltar has already had the Paris Agreement, the UK's ratification of the Paris Agreement extended to them, I believe in 2022, so they could probably provide some very useful insights there. And the Cayman Islands has been in consultation discussions with UK DESNES, prior to that BEES. So for the last 2.5, if not 3 years, on the extension process and going back and forth, jumping through hoops and so forth. So we're sort of in the throes of that right now. And I believe Guernsey had it most recently extended at COP28. We were to come onto the heels of that, so they have perhaps also some very useful experiences that they could share with the group or lend to the study. Thank you.
With your permission, Lisa, we'll contact you after this call for a bilateral meeting to learn more about your experience as input for this study.
My pleasure.
John, please.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, my point is really about the optics of the wording. What I understand from the project, it is to look at the benefits and the obligations and what would fall out if territories decided to move towards ratification, if their states allowed them to. But the way it's written, it comes across is that, you know, even though you say voluntary, that the aim is to deliver this. And I think that's sort of putting the cart before the horse. I think what we need from this sort of project is to look at the benefits there would be to territories if they ratify and the pitfalls associated with that. And then they could decide on a voluntary basis whether to join, not to have a presumption that they, you know, it's written as there is this presumption this is the best thing to do for all territories. And I think we need to be careful around that wording because it is quite a political issue. So it's the project is to highlight the benefits and the pitfalls, the advantages in terms of whether there is better access to multilateral funding mechanisms through ratification, rather than work from a premise that ratification may be the best thing for all territories. So I think we need to, in terms of the messaging, ensure we get that across. It's to inform territories to make that voluntary decision and not work from a presumption it's always going to be the best thing to do.
Yeah, thanks for that, John. Just I think that's a valuable comment, and I think from our perspective, it's a proposal that it could be useful, but I don't think that we're trying to suggest that it's the only path. But in any event, if your perception was that the messaging communicates that, then that's something we need to take into account. And I think you're absolutely right that the best way forward is to identify the pros and cons and give all appropriate individuals the information they need to make an intelligent decision. So thanks for that comment.
Thanks both John and Ahab, and I've already just noted an action item for the Go team to follow up on this and to look at the wording and maybe to get in touch with John and to come with an updated proposal for the next meeting in order to incorporate this perspective. Okay, so that's promised. And tied to this, there was a topic of the MVI, which of course is something that already has been done for the SIT, but had a lot of interest in Brussels. Seeing that we have about 7 minutes remaining, I just wanted to ask if there any last comment on this pillar. If not, we'll be consolidating the feedback of today for the next iteration for the next meeting. And use the last minutes for a discussion on possible conferences and side events. So any last comments perhaps on this before we close the agenda item? Okay, then it's safe to say, I think, I see Eric unmuting or not?
Yes. Can I
give
a short comment on the high-level meeting? This was agreed a little while ago. I think it would be nice to include also some, in the case of the Caribbean, permanent secretaries, because the ministers are very volatile. They can be changed anytime. So if the permanent secretaries will be there, so there is a continuity of the project. Thank you.
We understand what you mean, yes. In the British constituency, the permanent secretary, yes. We've noticed this. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Eric.
Okay, so then With your permission, we'll move to the last agenda item and give Ahab the floor to make some comments on this list that is now on the screen. So Ahab, please proceed.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. Well, this is a short list of some upcoming events during which we can assemble individuals and or others are assembling individuals to talk about climate finance and related subject matter. The one occurring in Curacao that you see at the top, which is I don't know exactly what audience is being invited to that. The Go program is liaising with the Kingdom of Netherlands to explore participating in that. If it's beneficial to the territories and countries that we represent. Then many of you might be aware of the Island Innovation Forum that's taking place in St. Kitts and Nevis. For my part, I'm thinking I and maybe another representative from the Go program will assist or participate in the last day because it's climate finance related. And look forward to seeing any of you that might be attending that, and we can look to organize a collective position, perhaps that could be useful to share at that time. Something that we can discuss in upcoming meetings. And then, of course, there's the UN Oceans Conference taking place in Nice, France. Once again, from the Go program's perspective, we're organizing an event, a side event with Octa, or we have submitted a proposal with Octa or to organize a side event at UN Oceans in Nice. And should that be accepted by the UN, we would look to once again give voice to overseas countries and territories that are associated with our program. So we'll keep you updated. I think we hear back from UN Oceans the 14th of April or that week. And then if we're successful with that proposal, we'll look to spin up more activities and generate some messaging and reach out to all of you to see who's attending and who might be keen to participate in a panel and or participate in a side event that we might prepare for that in conjunction and through Octa. Then ODI is also doing something at UN Oceans, and the Go program is looking to do something with ODI. And then Expertise France, the agency that implements and allows for the implementation of the Go program. It has likewise made an application for UN Oceans, and once again, we'll hear back in April about that. And then, of course, there's the UNFCCC COP30 coming up in Belém. We're already looking, my team and I are looking at how best to get organized around that. And once again, we'll be looking to give voices to all of you, and it'll be an opportunity, I think, to share some of the outputs of this working group, as well as to organize with yourselves for this high-level event that we've discussed, in addition to some secondary and tertiary side events to build awareness about the challenges you all face and the need for additional funding to underwrite adaptation and resilience and related activities. So that's a quick overview of just some of the events, some of the key events that are upcoming. And with that, I think we've exhausted our agenda, and it seems to me with 1 minute left, I want to thank all of you for making time to join us tonight. It was a 90-minute meeting. We managed to stick to the timing. Thank you, Robert, for being efficient in carrying us through this. Thank you all for sharing your opinions and your expert advice in your respective areas. That's been very interesting to hear from all of you. And we'll be sharing minutes and reaching out to those of you that for some of you for additional input that we started to discuss tonight. And we look forward to seeing you all at the next meeting that Robert will keep us all abreast about and share agendas in advance of that. So thank you, Robert, one and all. Good day and good evening.
Thank you very much, and a
Thank
good
you.
evening, or day, or morning.
Thank you.
Thank
It was a
you.
pleasure meeting you
Bye-bye.
all.
Merci, merci.
Thank you.
Bye.
Please join next time. We'll continue.
Thank you.
Bonne journée, bonne soirée.
Thanks to our scripters also.
Merci, au revoir à tous.
Merci, merci. Bonne journée et à très bientôt. Thank you to our interpreters. Merci beaucoup.
Anis et Roxana, merci. Ce soir. C'est la 11 en France, oui?
It's 10:30 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. Good stuff, Robert. Well done. Thanks very much, and look forward to touching base with you about next steps on all this.
Right. No, we'll liaise. I'll start preparing the minutes, and I'll consolidate the feedback and define some action items. Then it's also clear for the participants that we're taking up the feedback.
Mhm.
And then work towards the consolidated work plan for the next meeting.
Excellent.
And perhaps the next time we could ask for confirmation also from the people.
Yes, perhaps. Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Slightly higher output or turn.
Yeah, we can explore that. Absolutely.
For RSPP system or approach. I was even getting messages during the call from some people, like from Bonaire, Gert, currently in the Netherlands, and even people in Aruba had other meetings.
Well, we can
I'm
work
not
on
sure
that
either.
time around. But you did an excellent job of inviting people to share input and whatnot. So, Robert, well done. And with that, Robert,
Okay.
I wish you an excellent day, and I'll talk to you very soon.
I wish you an excellent night. So I really hope you have a good night's sleep, because I'm sure tomorrow is not a full day ahead. Okay?
Full day. Yes. Cheers, Robert. Bye-bye.